Hey kids, it's time to get some SML podcast all up in that.
What's up, everybody? This is the SML podcast. I am your host, Joe. Joining as usual, Cole. How are you doing?
I'm not dead.
That's a good thing.
Is it though? Is it though?
Probably not this week, no.
Let's not talk about this week.
It's true. You're not allowed to die until November 4th.
Oh, God. Yeah, because we're supposed to have Adam Rippon on for the 3rd, so.
Oh.
Oh, right, yeah, that. There's definitely nothing else nationally going on.
No, nothing. Nothing that he's going to come on the show and help talk us through everything and be our other beacon of joy and happiness.
How come I never get to be a beacon of joy and happiness?
Because
You're
that requires joy and
sadness
happiness.
And depression.
Yeah.
You're like
Yeah,
an emotional black hole.
Dang.
Man, I don't know how to start this week off. Like, I've had such a shitty week, and like doing the show is the last thing on my mind, but we have so much to do tonight.
Joe, don't talk to me in your masturbating voice, please. No, just...
I think this episode is going to set a record for reviews.
I need a towel.
Oof.
I hope I could edit that.
Me too.
Nope.
But yeah, I think this episode is going to set a record for reviews. I don't know if we've ever had this many on one show before. Which is why there's no guest this episode. No guest. It's just us and Jacob fucking here.
So I'm a guest.
So
We like talking to guests.
So Jacob, tell us about your project that you're working on. See, you're a shitty guest.
Right?
You're a shitty guest.
Well, Joe, which project do you want to hear about? I've just got so many, just so many. You know, I thought you were going to bring me on for one specific one. I mean, you have to tell me so I can prepare.
The ones that we're allowed to talk about legally.
In which country?
Good point. Good point. So let's dive into some news. There is a little bit of news that we could talk about this week before we go headfirst into our bucket full of reviews this episode.
Did you actually look at the Facebook page this time?
No.
I hate you so much. I'm like, I posted plenty of news for you to talk about.
I did find something on there from the Facebook
ago?
Yesterday.
How long ago? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
it's not a lot, but...
Yeah, I mean, that's what she said.
Yeah, I know. Some games are coming to Game Pass. This has been a pretty big week for Game Pass. We had a whopping 5 games added to Game Pass this week. Isn't that crazy?
Yes.
I guess. I don't really keep track of that kind of stuff.
You should, because Game Pass is incredible.
Yeah, I still don't have it yet. I'm probably going to get it once I get a Series X, but yeah.
Or shame.
Wait, you don't even have Game Pass?
No, he doesn't.
Get him off the show.
Yeah,
Hang
seriously.
Why? No, I'm sitting on like 800 games.
And?
Why would I get... like, I'm sitting on like 800 games just for my Xbox One alone. Like, that doesn't even include all the stuff I can't port from the 360 over to my Xbox One.
Allow me to ask this one more time. And?
It's extra money.
$10 a month. 15 if you do Ultimate, and then you don't have to worry about gold.
Yeah, I mean, see,
and you get Game Pass for PC.
Yeah, for his
and
awesome
xCloud.
PC that he has.
You would be surprised. There's a lot of stuff that plays on less than stellar PCs. Surprisingly.
It's my work computer. So anyways, what's coming to Xbox Game Pass, Joe?
This week alone, the 5 games we got, the big one is Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. Just hit Game Pass. How crazy is that?
That's pretty awesome.
That is going to boost the already stellar player base that game has. So people are going to bitch online about getting disconnects and getting reports. That's such a toxic community. Hopefully this gets rid of some of the bad people and replaces it with new people who aren't shitty.
If anything, I'd figure it'd admin more shitty people.
Let's be optimistic.
Okay.
3 games launched direct to Game Pass this week, with Scourgebringer, which we reviewed last episode, which you really enjoyed, Cole.
Yes, I did.
Garner 2 and Superland all launched to Game Pass this week.
Nice.
Yep. And that's not even it. One more game.
But wait, there's more.
Cricket 19.
Oh, hell yeah. Time for me to get Game Pass.
No, next week is when you're going to get Game Pass, because 3 games are hitting Game Pass on the 29th.
What?
3 games. Grim Fandango Remastered, Day of the Tentacle Remastered, and Full Throttle Remastered, all launching direct to Game Pass on October 29th.
It just came.
Yeah. See why we talk about how good Game Pass is?
But I don't need it. I have 800 games.
So many things to play. Mary was cold.
So those are going to be what? 15, 20 bucks each, probably?
Mm-hmm.
Or you could just pay $10 to get a month of Game Pass. See?
Or we could get review copies.
Yeah, good luck on that one.
Fingers crossed.
I am not a miracle worker. Despite people thinking yes, we get some good stuff on the show, but you can't expect a review copy of everything, Jacob.
I know, but I can hold out hope.
Cole, you're going to take all of them just to piss him off, aren't you?
You're goddamn right. And I have Game Pass, and I'm still going to take them.
If Cole did that, I don't know
what
I would do.
What?
I don't know what
Bring it on, pork chop.
Oh my
take
God.
an extended leave of absence.
Thank God. Give me the game.
You're supposed to dissuade her from this, Jacob.
Well, what am I supposed to do? Like, be like, oh, I'm going to review more games, so Cole has to talk to me. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
I can't do it if she takes the games.
True. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Something else that did happen this week, Serious Sam developer Croteam has been acquired by Devolver.
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that. That's crazy.
I thought they already had them.
No, they've just been like really, really good buddies for the longest time, and now they put a ring on it.
We should send them a gift.
I don't have their address.
Do they have a wedding registry at Pottery Barn or something?
Hope so. That's your job to look up.
Okay.
Some shitty news. NBA 2K21 has quietly added unskippable ads into loading screens because people who buy 2K21 games are a fucking glutton for punishment because the NBA games haven't changed at all in the past, 5 years. But
yeah, I saw that. And of course, but the ads actually aren't longer. They didn't make the loading times longer, did they? They're just unskippable. You used to be able to
edit your lineup and shit like that during the loading screens, and now you can't even do that. I don't know if the ads are longer than the loading screens. I've heard some are, some aren't. I don't play the game myself to know for sure, but just the fact that you have to put up with ads in a $60 game that you paid for, and you're watching actual full-on commercials, like for the Oculus Quest.
That's crazy, though. For a $60 game.
Yeah.
That's just...
EA did the same thing with UFC a while back, and they were torn to shreds, and they quickly changed course on that and took them out.
I was going to say, I remember that getting patched out.
Yeah. So let's hope that 2K sees the backlash and realizes that it's shitty to put ads in a full-priced paid game. There's a difference between having a banner ad or a logo on the court. That's whatever. Yeah, but having unskippable ads, that's bullshit. I was gonna say, I remember in Rainbow Six Vegas too. There were posters and banners for Tropic Thunder in that. But I mean, it's just it was whatever. It was just they were there in the background. I mean, having full blown ads, that's just nuts. you never go full advertisement.
Game I'd play on mobile.
Yeah. Fire Emblem, Shadow Dragon, and the Blade of Light will be releasing in the US on the NES version for the first time ever on December 4th at a price of only $5.99. The shitty part, it will only be available until the end of the franchise's 30th anniversary on March 31st. So those who want to get this game, you got to chop and pick it up. At least it's only $6 this time. It's not 60 like friggin' Mario All-Stars.
I have absolutely no emotions toward this. At least it's cheap.
Yeah. In addition, a Fire Emblem 30th Anniversary Edition will be available through select retailers at a suggested price of $50. It will include the game in a nostalgic, stylized physical NES box, and a replica NES game pack art piece with a protective sleeve, 222-page deluxe hardbound art book, and a game download code.
Ooh.
So that sounds pretty nice for only $50.
Yeah.
I might have to jump on that if it's not already sold out.
I was going to say, you would have jumped on that anyway. Shush.
Hey, it depends on if it sells out because it's friggin' Nintendo. And they do limited bullshit runs on all their special editions anymore and make it hard to find. That's why I don't have Xenoblade. I just bought that digital. Yeah. So what other news do you two want to talk about?
Well, EA just got sued up in Canada for loot boxes. So
nice.
Apparently they actually got sued back in the end of September, but the internet only realized it just now. But it goes as far back as like Mass Effect Andromeda, like for the different titles that they're being sued for. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Damn. Good luck, EA. Fucking loot boxes.
They get you every time.
Yeah, I know. I saw news that Uplay just unlocked like all of their rewards that they used to have because they are switching over to like Ubisoft Connect or whatever the fuck they're calling their new service. And any of the games that had Uplay rewards, everything has been unlocked from the get-go. So fire up those games and go get some extra game goodies that probably won't be able to dick around with anymore. Which,
of course, I mean... well, see, that's what I'm kind of curious about. It's just like, because the articles don't really specify. Is it just like, are you never going to be able to get it past a certain point? Or is it just, all right, it's now unlocked, whatever kind of thing? Like, that's what I don't get.
I think they're all just unlocked now. Like, you can't use the points form anymore. The Uplay points are going away. They're doing something completely, quote unquote, different with, Ubi Connect or whatever they're calling it, but all the Uplay stuff is just unlocked and there. Yeah.
Well, thank God, so I could finally have all of the outfits for Wheel of Fortune.
Fire up Wheel of Fortune now and see if everything's unlocked.
What?
Aki messaged me about the Uplay stuff being unlocked, and I was like, I already have it. I'd already unlocked all the Division stuff.
Aki says open to Origins and it didn't require to log into Uplay to download them. They just use it, so they're just unlocked. So,
but the Division might actually be one of those games that's making the jump, because I know Kotaku said that there are certain games that are being transferred over to the...
Yeah, there's only a handful of them.
Yeah, but I don't know. And that was what I thought was weird, too. Like, there wasn't like a definitive list. It was just like, just fire it up and see what happens.
No, there was a list. I'm going to see if I could find it. You two talk.
No.
God damn it.
Why should I have to talk to Cole? I don't want to talk to myself. Why would I want to talk to Cole?
I don't know. Is you doing something for me while I look something up for news?
She is not the beacon of positivity and happiness like she says she is.
I beg to differ.
Well, you would. You're the beacon of like...
I think you're just blinded by my light and you can't see me for the wonderfulness that I truly am.
Sure, we'll go with that.
No. I'm feeling nauseous all of a sudden. I'm trying
you guys can't dull my sparkle.
Your sparkle? No. If anything, I think you're just farting glitter.
Son of a bitch, I know I saw a list of these earlier. Where the fuck is it?
I don't know. I can't remember any other video game news that I had read about.
Cole, any news on
how
your
about-
end?
No. That's your job to look that shit up, not mine.
Hey, every
No.
now and then you might have some news to talk about.
It is pretty rare, and it usually involves The Division or Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Call of Duty is having a Halloween event, and so is Rocket League. I can tell you about that.
Oh,
Sure, go ahead.
What's happening with that?
The Call of Duty event is hilarious when you get in the fucking stadium and the ghosts start popping up and people aren't expecting them, and then they have a heart attack. Because like they literally made the map night mode for Warzone, right? Which
Okay.
sucks in its own right because now people can hide. But it has some really brilliant qualities because they added like there was one part we were in the farmlands and there were just chainsaw sounds all over the place. And you're just like chainsaws and screams. And you know, in Call of Duty you use your hearing to really figure out what's going on around you. And so like if you're sitting in a house trying to hide from somebody and then you just suddenly hear a chainsaw, you're like, fuck that, I'm out. That was pretty cool. But then in like the stadium, these blue ghosts will just randomly pop up. Sometimes there's a trick or treat thing going on where when you open the loot crates to get, you know, your gear, sometimes you'll get a goodie, which will be like a calling card or a charm for your gun or whatever, right? That's your treat. Sometimes a big giant jump scare will jump out and get you. Oh, it's wonderful.
Yay, jump scares.
It's absolutely hilarious to be playing with people who are chicken shits. Like, I get jump scared by it too. I'm like, you know, because you forget it happens if it doesn't happen for a long time. And then it'll happen to somebody else though, and you just hear, Jesus Christ, because they're not ready. And you're just like, you can't help but laugh every fucking time.
Oh my lord. That just reminds me of Ashley leaning over to unplug her wall charger the one time. And I'm sitting at my computer, and in the background, I just hear, Jesus Christ, I'm going down. And I hear a thud. And she just lost her balance and fell. And it was just you saying Jesus Christ reminded me of that. So I figured I would share her embarrassment with the world.
Fair enough.
Jesus Christ, I'm going down.
I do have more news for us to talk about.
Oh, I found the list of games that are transitioning, by the way.
Okay.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, For Honor, Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Hyperscape, Steep, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, and Tom Clancy's The Division 2. Everything else is being left behind.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. And then Ubisoft Connect will not be available in Just Dance 21. So I know that's going to hurt a lot of people. No, it won't.
It's going to hurt all those Nintendo Wii users.
I wonder if it's on Wii this year.
Is that the subscription service for the playing the music?
No, that's a completely separate thing.
Okay. I always forget. Like, we have a subscription for the music because the kids have Just Dance on their Switch. And yeah, because Connect doesn't get any love anymore. So here we are. So yeah, I was like, well, you said that, and then my first thought was, wait a second, we pay for a subscription.
No, you'll still be paying for that subscription.
At least it's cheap. It's only $25 a year.
No, that's not bad.
Yeah.
A lot of people wish Rock Band would do something like that, but I think the logistics behind the music and the licensing is a lot harder for Just Dance than it is, or for Rock Band than it is for Just Dance. Because in Just Dance, you're just dancing over the music, where in Rock Band, you're actually like stripping notes out and reperforming them and altering the song files, and I don't know.
Yeah, I was going to say there's definitely a difference between that because I actually own bootleg Beatles Rock Band albums. Yeah, it was crazy. But, like years ago, I was in this random record store with my ex-girlfriend, and I was just perusing the Beatles stuff, and I'm finding all these Beatles Rock Band albums, and I had to use her phone because I'm just like, I never even heard of a release for these. Like, what the hell is this? And then I realized, like, these are damn bootlegs of the different audio tracks that got used for the game. So
just remixed and remastered in a different way.
They ripped them out of the game. So it was pretty crazy. But anywho, so other news to talk about. There is a fight crab tournament happening in Japan where the actual prize will be crabs.
Yeah, that's some pretty crazy news that there's an actual fight crab tournament with crab prizes.
Yeah.
I guess that's a way to get around like gambling restrictions, is to give away crabs instead of money.
Well, I think it also just brings attention to the game because, you know, I mean, it's already a weird game in itself, but, you know, it gets that kind of stuff immediately gets attention that it's an esports event that you'll be paid in crabs, not money.
No.
In Super Smash Brothers, they edited out Steve's penis.
Huh?
So in his victory screen, Steve will hold various items, including meat. And the way it was originally shown, it looked like Steve's dick. And so Nintendo has actually patched it out, and now he just stands there and eats the meat instead of just holding it near his pants area.
Interesting.
So it no longer looks like a dick.
Okay. That is
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. It only took them like 3 days to do it, but they did it.
I'm looking at a picture of it. Oh, son of a bitch. That's going to be the image for the episode, isn't it?
I hope so. But I'm also just like, how did Nintendo not notice that?
I don't know. But that's pretty magical.
So there's that. And then the only other news I have to talk about is that they started showing off some photos from the upcoming Uncharted movie.
Oh, yeah, with Tom Holland. He does not look right for the part.
He's a little too skinny and baby-faced. And he doesn't look rugged at all. But you know what? The thing is that he might be able to grow into it.
Maybe.
Like, I'm sure that's what their hope is. That, you know, this will be like a long franchise over a number of, you know, possibly over decades. So, I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. But any other news, or should we dive into the reviews? Because we have, oh my God, so many.
Well, if we got so many, we should probably just go ahead and start getting into them.
All right. First game to talk about tonight is called G.I. Joe Operation Blackout, developed by IguanaBee and Fair Play Labs, published by GameMill Entertainment, released October 13th on Xbox One, Switch, and PS4 for $39.99. G.I. Joe and Cobra are back. G.I. Joe Operation Blackout is a classic team-based third-person shooter where you play as your favorite characters from Team G.I. Joe and Team Cobra. Experience the action from both sides as you help G.I. Joe restore order and lead Cobra to world domination. Jacob, tell us about G.I. Joe Operation Blackout.
So it is a third-person shooter action game based on the G.I. Joe property. I never got into G.I. Joe as a kid.
Really?
My parents wouldn't let me watch it.
What?
So, they were very anti-violence and stuff like that. Like the only reason my brother and I got to watch like Ninja Turtles is because it was huge, and like my mom actually like went to my dad and was just like, "Listen, like this thing is huge. I realize like the kids are going to get beaten up on the playground and ostracized if like they don't at least watch the show and have all 4 turtles." And like my dad relented on that, but like G.I. Joe was completely out of the question. Like, so it's like that and Transformers are this like weird gap that I just don't have any attachment to as a kid. So
why did you review these in Transformers?
No, because I got into them later.
Okay,
like,
okay.
I've gone back and like read the comics and stuff like that.
I was gonna say if you don't like follow, like you asked for these.
No. Like I've gone back and like I've watched a bunch of it. Like the G.I. Joe cartoon show is fantastic. Like it's got some episodes that are like pure psychological mindfuck. You know, like that you're just like, wow. I'm a little surprised that this is a kid's show. But and the comics are like they're fun too. And I know that this is going to be a super unpopular opinion, but I'm a big fan of the first live action movie. Like it's like a live action Saturday cartoon. So, like, oh, shut up, Cole. it was a lot of fun. Anyway, so, all right.
All this leads to Operation Blackout,
which has Cobra taking down all of the world's technology through like these coordinated EMP attacks. And of course, Cobra's technology is left untouched because they all have some sort of blackout generator thing. The storyline's a little bit flimsy, but it's standard stuff. And of course, like they crippled G.I. Joe and everyone's hunted down and, you know, they're either captured or except for like 17 of the Joes or whatever. And so it's up to the remaining Joes to take on the forces of Cobra and restore order to the world, blah, 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 so on and so forth. It's a standard plot line. So pretty much you just, with each mission, you're moving through the story. You get to choose one of two characters, sometimes I think there's like a couple that are occasionally more than just two that you could choose from, but it's essentially you and a partner. And you're moving through each chapter, and it's a lot of get to point A, move to point B, defend point A, like defend point C for like a minute, you know, while the nanites, you know, upload or, you know, till reinforcements arrive, stuff like that. It's all standard stuff for a generic third-person shooter and the mechanics are kind of weird because it tries to go with like some Gears of War mechanics, like especially like
I noticed there's like a lot of cover barriers, but also the reload mechanic, which doesn't really. It affects how quickly you reload, and that's it. It's not like Gears of War where it's just like, oh shit, my gun's now jammed because I fucked it up. It's just it took you longer. So it's just like you're moving through the levels with the AI controlled teammate, or if you're playing with somebody local co-op, you know, it's somebody else. But otherwise, it's AI who is about as useful as Shiva was in Resident Evil 5, aka not at all. Like they're literally no help. And so you're just moving through levels, and it's just you make it through the story. Like the enemy AI in the story was just absolutely unrelenting to the point of it started to become infuriating as I was moving through, and I was getting shot through rocks in cover. Meanwhile, like my stuff was marginally hitting them, and of course, like before you could start a mission, you could choose which of the characters you're going to be, and it shows the differentiation with stats and stuff like that. But replaying a few of the missions, like as the other person, it almost felt like there was no real difference. It was really just, you know, how quickly your weapon fired, or, you know, because all of it felt like it hit the same. So it was really just, do you want to make it appear as though it's shooting quickly, or do you want one that shoots slow and has way less ammo? Yeah.
Like, how much of a glutton for punishment are you? And so, like, the game tries to break it up with different stuff, like shooting down like drones or planes and stuff like that as you're doing your mission objectives. And it's kind of a nice break, but it's nothing in the game is groundbreaking, unfortunately. And the game is broken up with cutscenes that are simple animation. Like it's a simple picture, and like they all move somebody's limbs or their mouth to make it look like they're talking. And it's unfortunately it looks super cheap, and just it's. I mean, granted, I understand it's a cutscene. It's not the part that you're like there for, but it does not help the game whatsoever.
No. The biggest problem with this game is that, you said it before, it's just kind of bland and generic through and through. I appreciate that they tried doing something different with the visuals to kind of give it a more animated look to it.
It does have, like, I'll be honest, it's like the graphics do have like a nice pop to them. Like it reminds me a lot of like G.I. Joe meets Borderlands.
Yeah.
And the voice acting was generally pretty good, but it's just, you know, it's the graphics and, you know, if it's the graphics and the voice acting, that are like, you know, they're your main pluses for a game like that, especially for a game like this, that's not good.
No.
Like the action is just like, I felt like there was not much to it, and it never really mattered whether I went in there guns blazing or if I tried playing it stealth. Either way, the enemy AI was just, as I said, it was unrelenting, and it kept coming after you. And even though you're supposed to be able to duck behind stuff and hide and like regain your shields, it's like they just never stopped. And it was like, if you're looking for a challenge, then this game will have it. But if you're looking for like a relaxing or I feel mean if I say fun. Like, if you're looking for a fun game, then
approachable, is that a better word?
Probably, yeah. Like, you know, a relaxing or approachable game. This is not either of them. Like, you're either up for a huge challenge or you're just going to get frustrated and toss your controller. I'll be honest, for $40, that's way too steep in my opinion. Like, I felt that this would have been like a higher tier Xbox Live Arcade game in the previous, I guess 2 generations ago, now that we're about to have the Xbox Series X out there.
No.
But this honestly would have felt like a $20 Xbox Live Arcade game.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It's, as it stands though, $40 an official verdict though. As I said, for $40, unless you're looking for like an extreme challenge where the controls are not the greatest and the enemy AI seems to have like a huge bullshit meter attached to it, if you're looking for that kind of challenge, by all means go for it. But if you're a regular gamer, I'm gonna say either wait for it to hopefully show up on Game Pass or just wait for a sale. I mean, you know our review scale, right? I'm trying to get an actual like verdict out of you, like a hesitant try it, a deny it. You pay attention to our show?
No, I don't.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Honestly, I'm gonna have to say pass. However, God dang it. Right here's the other issue with it, because between when I got my review copy and when since the last time I've played it, which was actually yesterday, during that time, the game has actually received a 5 gig patch on it.
So they are working on it.
They've been working on it. Now, I'll be honest, the gameplay didn't seem to be any tighter since, like, between when I first started playing and since recently. So, obviously they're working on it, but personally, I'm going to say no, but it may be also a try it if they're going to keep working on it.
All right.
You know, does that make sense?
Yeah. So hopefully they keep at this. They refine it a bit. I guess we'll see. But next game to talk about is called Inertial Drift, developed by Level 91, published by PQube, released September 11th on Switch and PS4, September 30th on Xbox One for $19.99. Forget everything you know about drifting. Set in a 90s retro future, Inertial Drift is an arcade racer with a devastatingly unique handling model and unbelievably satisfying twin-stick drift mechanics. Inertial Drift offers a whole new level of accessibility and challenge to the arcade racing genre for a driving experience genuinely unlike anything you've ever played before. Jacob, tell us about this one.
So when they're saying that, you know, it's just like, oh, well, it's nothing that you've ever tried before and, like, you know, it's different, I will give them this. They are correct. So the controls for this racing game it's a twin stick racing game, which I don't know if I've ever actually had to do that other than last time I was on the show with Monster Truck Championship, which, unfortunately for that game was terrible. This game, I'll be honest, there's a little bit of a learning curve with it, but once you get it down, it feels very right. And you're just like, oh, why haven't other games been doing this? Like, it was really surprising. Almost in like that Skater XL with like how to like, you know, control your skateboard and stuff like that. Like, once you get the hang of it, you're just like, oh, like, okay, why haven't more games been trying this? So it's an average arcade racer. There is a story mode to it, which, you know, it's the usual stuff, you know, like, like there's not much to it. you're racing, like you do the races, you progress the story, yada yada yada, so on and so
Sounds
forth.
complex.
You meet other racer. It's not particularly complex. But there are a bunch of modes to it. I mean, there's time trials, there's ghosts, there's versus, there is local races that you can do, local couch co-op. I mean, not couch co-op, but local versus couch versus. However you want to put it. I don't know. I don't even know what you call it. But it's local. You're playing with the other person on your couch, whatever you want to call it.
Local multiplayer?
Shut up, Joe.
Okay.
No. Actually, that name's genius. Have you copyrighted that name yet?
I think Cole's doing that now.
All right, good. Well, at least she's useful for something. So
she has not been shit-talking you as much as I thought she would.
Well, no, because she just ignores me, which is way better for her. You know,
I've had a lot of Vicodin tonight.
Send me some.
Is that how you
I
deal
refuse
with me?
to share.
It's how Cole deals with the pain and me, which usually is synonymous.
No.
So anyway.
Inertial Drift.
Right. So anyway, so there's a bunch of different levels. Of course, there's different racers in it. But, of course, the main thing is, like, you know, it's all standard stuff. Everyone has, like, their little bit of strength. You know, some cars are better than others for certain things. But with it, again, the main difference here is the controls. Now, the left stick is supposed to control your direction, which it never really seemed to do. Like, interestingly enough, like, yeah, you kind of went to the left or you kind of went to the right, but what you're really messing with is the right stick, which controls your drift in the game. And, you know, you're either drifting to the left or you're drifting to the right, and you have to move them together to make the controls work. And so with that, as I said, like, you know, the first couple of races, you're like, oh, this is kind of weird. Well, once it clicks, it's just like, oh, damn. Like, it feels right. Now, with it, it's just, I mean, there's not a lot to the game. There is no online multiplayer. I mean, maybe they'll introduce it later or in a sequel, I guess, if this sells well enough. But it's just like, compared to other racing games that have come out within this year, it unfortunately doesn't bring enough to the table to really differentiate it from the others. But I still really dug it. I'd recommend at the very least checking it out, if not buying it. But I really dug it. I wish that there was more to it. I wish that there was online. That's the for so many games that are releasing this year. I especially during a pandemic, I just don't understand why there are so many couch co-op games that I've had to review this year that they just didn't say, okay, you know what, we're pushing game development back a month or two so we can get online,
Well, we don't know how complicated it is to get online working in some of these games. I know we've talked to some developers where it would seem like it would be easy to implement online, and they tell us that they would have to rebuild the entire game from scratch to get it to work. So online is definitely not flip of a switch easy.
Fair enough. But, it's just there are some games and this is definitely one of them that it's just I feel like it really could have benefited more to have online multiplayer. But as it is, I really enjoyed it. It's not going to make my game of the year list, unfortunately, but I really dug it. So,
well, then $20 your official verdict.
Oh, it's only 20?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, definitely buy it.
Cool.
Yeah, I thought it was honestly going to be 30 or something like that.
Nope. That's why people should pay attention when I read the details.
No, Joe, because that means having to listen when you talk.
Touche.
No, but yeah, no, cheap ass Jacob tells you to go buy it for $20.
Cool beans. All right, well, that's it for you. I guess we'll let you get going.
Yay.
You have any special final words, or do you just want to leave?
Yeah, I think I'm just going to bounce. Thanks, so.
Jacob, always a pleasure having you on. I know I speak for Cole when I say that.
I don't think you are.
All right, do you have any final words?
I thought I said I was just going to bounce.
Well, then fucking bounce. Jesus.
Jeez.
What do I have to do? Like, boot you manually?
Fine, I'll leave.
Boot you, remove. There we go. Kick Jacob Garner from the call.
Get fucked.
Next game to talk about is the Jackbox Party Pack 7, developed and published by Jackbox Games, released October 15th on Xbox One, Switch, PS4, and PC for $29.99. 5 new games: the hit threequel Quiplash 3, the collaborative chaos of the Devils in the Details, the fierce drawing game Champed Up, the speech game Talking Points, and the guessing game Blather Round. Use phones or tablets as controllers and play with up to 8 players and an audience of up to 10,000. Because Lord knows our streams get that many people, right, Paul?
Yeah. I didn't even get a chance to stream this yet. I had plans on doing it yesterday, but I come down, I got sick, couldn't do it. I'm going to have to try to find some time this weekend if I'm feeling better.
Should we bump this to next week?
I mean, I played it, with the kids, but I didn't stream it. So that's up to you.
Yeah,
but
fuck it.
I've been okay because I've been laying dead on the couch for 2 days. So.
Well, then hopefully that gave you enough time to review Ty the Tasmanian Tiger, developed and published by Krome Studios. Released October.
Right now.
Released October 14th on Xbox One for $29.99. Good day, mate. Are you ready to explore the wilds of the Australian outback in this remastered version of the classic game Ty the Tasmanian Tiger? Join Ty on a ripper of an adventure to free his family from the dreaming and to stop the nefarious evil genius boss Cass from removing mammals from the top of the food chain. Cole, tell us about Ty the Tasmanian Tiger.
So there has been a rash of, I apologize right now, my rabbit's making a racket. He's rearranging his cage. I don't know what the fuck's going through his head, but if you hear him, I'm sorry. There has been a rash of retro 3D platformers being remastered, relaunched, brought back out. We've seen Crash, Spyro, just everything under the sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like it's a good time for the Tasmanian Tiger. This is a good opportunity to remaster this game and get it in front of a new audience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they didn't do that.
Oh.
I don't know if they just ported it or what, but the moment I launched the game, I was like, holy fuck, this is blurry. What's wrong with my monitor?
Really?
And yeah, because initially, a lot of times these days I'll stream from my Xbox to my PC so that I don't have to turn around or move around at my desk and stuff. I can just sit here, still see my computer, and play my game at the same time. And so I was streaming it, and so it was like super blurry. I was like, the fuck is going on? So I started like fiddling with my settings, because usually if it gets blurry, sometimes the app that I use to stream to the computer will knock the setting down and set it to low. So I checked it. Nope, still on high. I couldn't figure out what it was. So I turned my fat ass around so I could actually see the TV. And no, it was very distorted and blurry looking on there as well. I don't know if this is I have an S and it just got the short end of the stick kind of thing, or what, but the game was really blurry. The cutscenes are by far the worst.
Oh yeah, the cutscenes in every remake are just usually awful, because they use the same 480i cutscenes from way back when. But it's
like they stretched it to widescreen.
Yeah.
And I bitched about the same thing when they, like, the wide setting in Shantae just last week, I think it was, or week before. I don't even remember when the fuck I played a game. But it's blurry. It's just distorted and looks bad. And I was like, okay, it's not the greatest start, but at least neither of my devices are fucked up. So I'm going to go back to streaming it to the computer and hope for the best. Where's my chicken crowing at 10 p.m.? In the actual game, I'd like to say it doesn't look as blurry and distorted, but it's still not great. There hasn't been like any touch up of the graphics or anything. It just looks like it's, how old was it again? I forget.
I don't remember how old. I don't know. I thought it looked fairly decent. Like, some of the textures are obviously textures from way back in the early thousands, but I thought overall things were fairly crisp and clean.
Maybe I'm pickier about it, but I didn't think it looked that great. I was like, holy mackerel. Now, gameplay-wise,
I legitimately have the Tasmanian Tiger 2 for original Xbox on my shelf, and I fired it up and played it. And it's like night and day when you look at original Xbox compared to this.
Maybe I've also never played the original. So,
yeah. I mean, the textures
maybe I'm being
aren't
harsher.
the textures aren't amazing in this game, but I will say that they are at least like crisp and clean. I don't know where you're getting the blurriness from. Maybe I have glaucoma.
Maybe.
I got to get you some pot.
Oh no. maybe I need to start getting high a different way.
Yes. Do it.
The Vicodin have caught up to me.
Do it.
But no, I thought it could have, and also, let's be honest, I've been spoiled by some of the remakes, and so I expect a little more too.
Yeah, this isn't a remake. This is just
a remaster. I know, but it doesn't even feel like that. It's just like, no, we knocked a couple spare pixels off and put it up there. It's fine. It just felt like there could have been a little more done to make it look a little nicer. Gameplay was fine though. I don't have any complaints about the gameplay. It worked. It did what it needed to do. I had a damn good time running around as a Tasmanian Tiger, chucking 2 boomerangs at things all day long, collecting the I can't even remember what those damn colored eggs are called now.
Colored eggs.
Yeah, they're colored eggs.
Yeah.
It's 2020, Joe. You can't call them that. But they have the rainbow colored eggs, and then there's the coins that you collect. And it's basically just a 3D platformer collectathon. And then for that point, it holds up. It's fine. It does what it needs to do. And I don't really have any complaints about it. I just wish it were a little more visually appealing.
If they do maybe a brand new tie game, we could possibly see some fresh, like, cartoon style visuals, but
yeah,
we can't expect too much out of something that's just a straight remaster of a game from 20 years ago. I mean, it's clearly not going to look like Ori.
Well, no, and I don't expect it to, but I don't know. I've reached a point where, again, the Spyro remaster did it. Yeah. They remade everything. And so, like, now I just have this lofty expectation that, things should just be a little more, I don't know, a little crisper and a little nicer looking. And so I'd like to see that. And for what it is, it's fine. There's definitely fans of the franchise that are going to be like, oh my God, this is so great that it's back. And I hope it succeeds, and I want them to, maybe revive the franchise and see what they could do with making it a whole new thing instead of just remastering the old one.
No.
Because I think it deserves that kind of attention. But it's just a little, I don't know, it's a little rough around the edges for my liking, but I think in general it's fine.
All right. Well, then $30 on it, your verdict?
I'm gonna roll with a recommended try it. I think it's reasonable. I think it's, again, that's my personal sticking point, and a lot of other people aren't going to be bothered by it, and that's fine.
Cool, works for me. I had fun with it. I think it definitely looks better than it did on the original Xbox. That's for sure. It's I don't know. I guess you're just spoiled.
Curious. Well, that, and I'm always curious at how much the S factor plays into it, because I am on an S.
Yeah, I don't know if it has any factor in this game, on an X. But it's possible.
I think in general the X can make anything look better, but that's also because I'm just jealous because I don't have one.
No. Well, hopefully you'll have a Series X soon.
Soon.
All right, next game to talk about is Remothered Broken Porcelain, developed by Stormine Games, published by Modus Games, released October 13th on Xbox One, PS4, and PC for $29.99. Broken Porcelain brings an abundance of welcome changes to the series, including new gameplay and storytelling elements that breathe new life into the characters, an unprecedented level of immersion in this haunting adventure, perfect for both new and returning fans to the series. Paul, tell us about Remothered Broken Porcelain.
So, I can't remember if I played the first game, or if I just watched videos about people talking about the first game. I don't remember.
We cover too many games to remember.
and I'm really sorry. If I did, I'm sorry. The funny thing was, is like, I was super, Aki says I reviewed it. It's been a while. Who fucking knows? That's a good thing though. Oh, she remembers because she wanted it. Okay. So here's the thing. If
She's like, that bitch doesn't even remember it. I would have played it through and beaten it 4 times before the review.
And if I don't remember it, but I mistake it because I've watched videos on it, it means I at least was into it enough to go looking for more. Which is a thing I do a lot. I already did it with this one. Not even gonna lie to you. So yeah, I review a lot. I didn't even remember it. So the first thing that this game does is it opens up with a refresher. And I was like, oh yeah, I know what it's talking about. I know what happened. I'm on board here. I'm good. Because it just goes through the whole plot. So don't play it out of order. Or you're going to get spoilers for the first. Aki mad at me again because she was planning to review this one. Get fucked. I play all the games. But so yeah, I didn't remember until like I had the little refresher and it like jogged my mind, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember all this shit now. Which was great. I think more games should do that, especially when there's a bit of a gap between when they release.
Mm-hmm.
And just in general, like just remind me of what I played. Every game should do that. So the premise of completely lost my remothered 2 because I don't remember the subtitle all of a sudden.
Proud of you.
Look, dude, the Vicodin.
Proud of you. So proud.
But yeah. Anyway, for the sequel, you are playing as a young girl who has been kicked out of a boarding school for getting into a little bit of trouble. There's a few elements here right in the very beginning that I kind of like hit the wall on that got under my skin a small bit. They're tiny pedantic things, and I'm just going to go ahead and point that out. They don't affect the gameplay in the long run. But this game very much has a period setting in that, you know, there's very classic clothing and architecture and the environment. She gets kicked out of boarding school. She's sent to go be a maid at a hotel as punishment, essentially. But one of the things that kills me is in one of the opening scenes, the guy is like chastising the girl. And he's like, do you know how many other young girls would have just been sent to juvie? And I was sitting there thinking, they didn't call it that back then. And the moment it happened, I was like, I'm going to rant about this on the show and everybody's going to be mad at me for being pedantic about it.
Yeah.
But that gets me because those are the kind of little things that make you jerk out of the moment and go, what? You know? It was just, and there's little tiny moments throughout the entire game where just like things are just kind of said via the dialogue that don't feel like they fit the setting of the game. It's kind of like, remember the 90s when they did that Romeo and Juliet, but where it was like all modern, but they used the Shakespearean English?
Mm-hmm.
It's like that, but reversed. And if you're not willing to accept that it's going to do that, it feels weird. You know? And it seems like they put so much effort into everything else going on with the game, but the dialogue and the writing just kind of edges it all out. Beyond that, really, really good classic survival horror elements. You can definitely see the influences from the director and the creative team. I love that kind of shit. I'm not going to say any of it because I don't want to spoil anything. But as somebody that's like super into horror movies and novels and games, seeing all those kind of little bits and pieces from of inspiration from other stories being tucked into the game was really cool. I do want to point out, I have one other tiny complaint. This is obviously like a stealthy survival horror. One of the first bits of conflict you get into the game scared the ever-loving shit out of me, by the way. I was not ready for it. But one of the earlier bits of conflict, it's early enough in the game that you're still kind of in like a tutorial phase. And yet the game kind of just assumes you played the previous one and doesn't give you any kind of tutorial elements. So it had been so long since I'd played, and I couldn't even remember if I'd played, that I was like, what the fuck do I do? Right? And I kept accidentally throwing things or not knowing how to attack properly, so I took a pair of scissors to the skull. That's incredibly frustrating. And I just would have liked a refresher button prompt, especially because I double checked the options and had tutorial turned on. And so I was like, okay, you could have told me a button prompt to press there. I will give them a credit for accessibility though. Because you can go in and like tell it to not have as many QTE events.
That's good.
Yeah, QTEs and arthritic people are not friends.
No.
So seeing that option and being able to just like, no, shut that down was very nice. And I was very grateful for that. But I would have liked a little bit of a refresher, especially during that first combat sequence, to just have a reminder of how to play the game. I know it's stealth, but there are definitely elements, unlike the first game, where you cannot stealth. Especially the first sequence where you're going to take scissors to the head. Point blank. I hope you're ready. Actually, it was the second sequence. No spoilers, but scissors. Ow. But yeah, beyond that, I thought it was a really good time. It's a really solid horror game. Definitely has some elements that have been addressed from the first game, where the AI is a little more unpredictable, and it makes you really have to think about where you're going to move around at, as opposed to just like full on gunning it and hoping for the best. You have to really pay attention. I can't speak, but yeah, it's definitely, it's an improved version over the first, but it's still a wild ass story that you're just gonna have to like buckle up for.
Well, overall, what do you think of it?
I'm gonna roll with a buy it. I think it deserves it. I will say I was really impressed with the visual element of the game. There were a couple of movements and animations that were a little hitchy, and it was funny because I was like, man, if it were just a tad smoother, you could absolutely be like, this was AAA. It's so close. But it just has those few moments and you're like, damn. But I think they did a really good job with what they've got. And apparently there's supposed to be a third. And I am already like, yeah, give me.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. Well, next game to talk about is called Cloudpunk, developed by Ion Lands, published by Merge Games, released October 15th on Xbox One, Switch, and PS4 for $24.99. A neon noir story in a rain-drenched cyberpunk metropolis. It's your first night on the job working for the Cloudpunk delivery service. 2 rules: don't miss a delivery and don't ask what's in the package. That's what she said. Cole, tell us about Cloudpunk.
I broke a rule and asked what was in the package.
Oh,
and
no.
It was meat. So Cloudpunk takes place in like this super futuristic dystopia where basically cities are just like sky fucking high, stacked on top, layered and layered and layered. Visually, it is a voxel art style. We all know that's not my favorite. It's interesting because as far as like the environment goes, the voxel art isn't particularly overwhelming or distracting. It's just when it comes to the character models and the citizens in the city, that's where you get kind of like startled with it, right? And you're like, oh yeah, voxel, I remember. So that's a little odd to me. But I think it all comes together and kind of works if you can like just go, yeah, it's voxel art, and you just kind of settle in for it. So the premise is that I think it was pronounced Rainia, and she has had a bit of just a moment.
No moments ever. Never. Not on my show.
The moment could have been cut out.
No, it couldn't ever.
But
there is no cutting. And then you would have been like, just a moment, I'm back, because there's no, no
you could have edited like those 2 little seconds of fuckery.
Nope.
No, editing. Can't help me out.
Editing.
Anyway, so Rainia's life has kind of took a turn for a worse. She was a musician, but she's a little down on her luck. She has had to make some tough decisions. She has lost her house. She has had to have her dog's robot body sold. And so now her robot dog is an AI chip that she carries with her initially. And then she programs it, once you raise enough money, she programs it into the car that she is assigned when she gets a job with Cloudpunk. All right? Are you keeping up with me here?
Yes.
Because this is already a little on the weird with the she sold her dog's body element. All right? I just want to reiterate that. She sold the dog's body, she carried the dog's personality and an AI element on a chip, took it with her. Now it's in the car. So the dog's name is Camus, and it is your AI companion while you do these deliveries. It can talk to you. And it says some really odd things. Like the poor little thing thinks it was a bad dog because you sold its dog body. Okay. It gets a little emotional. So the whole point is that she's trying to get them back on their feet so she can, get them stable housing and all of that again. So she's taken this job with Cloudpunk. It's a delivery service. Think like a taxi in a way. They use hover cars, which are literally called hovas. And you're just zooming around in the air. There are different levels to the city. So in order to move up in between the levels, you have to actually go through these portals and it will then load the next zone. It's a little odd in case that's not overwhelmingly obvious.
Yeah, and it seems like a weird one.
Yeah. Somehow I just kind of accepted that this is the world that we were being presented, and I was there for it. And I was like, because the story and it's fully voiced and everything. So it's well written and well articulated and acted out enough that you can kind of believe it for just what it is without actually having to stop and go, okay, I just have to accept that this weird world. You're like, no, I'm in it and this is what it is. So the point is you make the delivery to get the money. Some of them are timed. I hate timed gameplay.
Yeah, missions are never fun.
I wish that there was an option to turn that off. Unfortunately, they went and tied that shit to an achievement too, so there goes my chance at ever getting a completion in this. But basically, you are just driving around in your little hover car. You can just float wherever you want to go. There are roads, and if you ride those highways, particularly if you're going the right direction, then you will go a little faster, and that helps with doing the deliveries on time. But if you want to just float off and go your own way and cut your own path through the buildings, you can absolutely do that. You do have to monitor your gas, and you have to monitor your vehicle's damage, because you can get into enough fender benders that you need to actually visit a mechanic. Other than that, though, I think it's a really good time. I think it's super creative. My cats are being assholes. But I think it's really creative and it's a unique game. I would like to see a little more accessibility, getting rid of those timed missions. But otherwise, it's good. I'm good with rolling with a try it on it.
Cool.
Yeah.
I didn't even get to ask for the $25. You just
No
Went out and
point.
said
Let's
it.
go.
All right, next game to talk about is Double Pug Switch, developed by the Polygon Loft, published by A Priori Digital, released October 22nd on Xbox One, Switch, PS4, and PC for $8.99. Double Pug Switch is a tough side-scrolling platformer. You take control of a pug who can switch dimensions due to a catastrophe in the lab. Run, jump, power up, and cry your way through several levels of doggy dimension goodness. Our friend Sarlina wrote in a review of this one, and this is what she's got to say. Greetings, SML friends and fam, it's Sarlina, and this week I'm reviewing Double Pug Switch for the Xbox One, developed by the Polygon Loft and published by A Priori Digital. Double Pug Switch is a side-scrolling, dimension-switching platformer where you play as beloved pug Otis, who must rescue the naughty cat Whiskers and save the dimension from the evil Lord Skur. Let's get on to the review. Story's pretty simple. Whiskers, in a show of dominance, decides to knock over 2 vials from a counter because cats. The liquid in the vials creates a portal to another dimension, and Whiskers and Otis get sucked in. You're guided by the professor who tells you that you have to switch between dimensions in order to get back to the regular lab. You also learn that Otis isn't the only one who can switch dimensions, and the evil form of Whiskers, Lord Skur, is in charge and wanting to take over the universe and remove dogs completely. It's a little nutty, but in a cute way. Let's talk about the gameplay. Double Pug Switch is a side-scroller, so Otis moves automatically. You tap the A button to do a small jump, hold A to do a longer and higher jump, and press B to switch dimensions. That's the control scheme, which is easy, but the game is very challenging. Any platformer, jumping is almost an art form, but with the added difficulty of dimension switching, means you have to be precise and quick. Columns, platforms, and spikes can be dimension coded, so if you're in the wrong dimension and you find yourself dying pretty quickly. Luckily, the game does have a checkpoint system, so it's easy to restart a level from a checkpoint or all the way from the beginning if you choose. But this isn't just a side-scrolling platforming game. There's also currency you can collect. There are gold coins and purple coins scattered through each level, and you need to use your jumping and switching abilities to the furthest to collect them all. You'll be able to use this currency to buy hats for Otis because hats are really cute on doggos. There's like 40 hats to collect, so if you've got the coins, Otis will have the hats. Graphics-wise, the game is really solid. There are 4 different level themes, and each theme is designed pretty well. There's not much variance in each of the levels, but that's alright. All the characters look fantastic, and the color scheme pops. Otis is adorably derpy looking, Whiskers looks like an evil cat, and the professor has this whole good-meaning but highly forgetful vibe about her. Music in the game is cute and upbeat until you realize it's the same track, and you want to beat yourself to death to stop the madness. Suffice to say, I had to mute the TV about 10 minutes in. Double Pug Switch is available right now for $8.39. Well, it's on sale. It's normally $8.99, so there's a discount there. So anyway, $8.99, and should you buy this one, this is a definite buy it. The quirkiness of the game hides a very challenging and satisfying platformer without have you wanting to collect every coin you see for the next hat for Otis. Lighthearted story belies the frustration you will feel after dying several times because your jumps and switches aren't fast enough. It all works together, and I thoroughly enjoyed my experience. Sounds good. I might have to pick this one up. That one looked really cute.
Interesting. I don't think I've seen that game.
Yeah, Double Pug Switch. Kids might like it. You dropped out for a second there.
Did I?
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, your mic just like you said. I'm pretty sure you said I'm Googling, but it's like I'm Googling.
Skype is fucking up lately.
Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, next game to talk about is Sin Therapy, developed by Crowded Demon Studios, published by V Publishing, released October 15th on Steam for $14.99. If an AI were sentient, how would you know if they were malfunctioning or experience a mental health problem? A story-rich game that explores mental health and AI ethics in the form of therapy sessions with a sentient AI. Paul, tell us about Sin Therapy.
So, Sin Therapy is a relatively simple point-and-click, kind of like a visual novel type of game. It does have some mini-games. I'll get to those in a minute. But about a therapist who is called to take a special case. And turns out that the patient is not quite what she was anticipating. So then it is up to you to decide how, as the therapist, you're going to handle this unusual patient. I'm trying to decide if I'm going to like spill the beans on what the patient is. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to talk about the game without saying.
Well, they say it's a sentient AI, so do we need to know more than that?
No, that'll work.
You didn't listen to my introduction, did you?
I did not this time.
You son. Why do I do these?
Listen, I normally do, but I just beep out this time. It took me a second. Like, I did it last time too, and then I had to stop, and I was like, please say the name of the game before you ask me so I know what it is. Look, it's the Vicodin.
Anyway, Sin Therapy.
So yeah, anyways, you have a sentient AI that is experiencing symptoms of distress, depression, anxiety, and it's basically up to you to decide how to handle it, what kind of therapies you're gonna assign for her. Honestly, this is an Aki game. I think she would have, like, not in the sexy kind of way, just because, like, she's super into psychology and stuff, but I thought she probably would have enjoyed this. Interesting art style. It's a little sketchy. Not the most polished art style. The funny thing is that the robot looks better than literally every human in the game. But it's a little bit of an odd story, and also kind of frustrating because I genuinely thought I was making good choices the whole way, and yet, like, every time I was going through this and I got a chance to review the case, it was like, yeah, you have all this trust, you're doing a good job. And then, like, it gets to the climax, I make my final decisions, and I got the bad fucking ending. And I was like, I don't know what I did.
Uh-huh.
So I've started it over again. I have to say, I would have liked to have played through and got all the endings before I actually did the review. But also, I didn't get to do that because the game had quite a few issues initially. And even still, it's had a few bugs. When I first started trying to play it, it would launch, and, like, if I went into the audio settings, the whole game would crash and nothing would happen.
Ugh.
After that got patched out, it was literally to a point there where it was getting 5 to 10 updates a day. And I couldn't even keep up to try to play it because as soon as I'd go to launch it, it'd be like, there's an update. And I'm like, well, I give them credit. They're working on it.
No.
You know? So I can't be mad that there were things that were broken about the game. I was really relieved that I was able to get one full playthrough in. But again, man, I really just want to know what the fuck the right answers were. Relatively simple game. You can go through it pretty quickly. It does give you options to whether it just auto plays the story or if you just click through it. I speed read, so I was clicking through shit pretty quickly. And it also does the nice thing where when you've got an option for what you can choose, it will give you the last line of dialogue or a relevant piece of dialogue from the person you were speaking to, so that you're not just like, fuck, I don't know what I'm answering, I didn't hear the question, or I read it too fast and don't remember the question. Then it's there. You can at least reread it and be like, oh yeah, that's what they wanted me to answer. Which I'm on board for. If they're not gonna full on give you the option to go back, which this game actually does, you can click back and you can replay lines of dialogue and not have to miss it. But if you did, it's still there that they give you a little snippet, and you're just like, yeah, I know where this conversation is going. Pretty simple, cut to the point. You get to choose therapies for your patient. Basically, the whole thing is like trying to avoid, unless you agree with, the data wipe, where they just do a full-on lobotomy on a sentient AI. There's a lot of heavy topics in this game. It's all centered around this AI, but it is heavy stuff that people genuinely deal with, and you absolutely want to take that into consideration. If you struggle with any kind of mental health concern, think about that before you pick this up, because that is the topics those are the topics that are at play, and you definitely want to know that going into it.
Well, as it stands, $15 on it. What do you think of it?
I think 10 probably would have been a slightly better price. At least it's got the replayability and that you get the different endings. So I'm gonna go with a try it. But you know, if you're on the fence about it, wait till sale.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, next game is Macritus, A Mother's Journey, developed by Proud Dinosaurs and East Asia Soft, published by East Asia Soft, released October 21st on Xbox One and PS4 for $11.99. Macritus is the story of a mother's relentless search for her missing children, an emotional tale told through lush 2.5D platforming filled with thought-provoking puzzles. Climb, jump, and gnaw your way through beautiful yet dangerous environments, avoid traps, and use water physics to your advantage. Will you help Mother Bilby rescue her family? Cole, did you rescue the family?
Fuck no, the puzzles are hard. That's not even necessarily that they're hard. They're just kind of not obvious. Does that make sense? Like, I don't need the solution to be obvious, but sometimes even just what the puzzle is can feel a little like you're sitting there going, where am I even supposed to look for the puzzle elements here? And that's a little stressful. Excuse me, sir. I'm doing a thing here. But yeah, it's a little unusual. So the premise is, like you said in the summary that I listened to, you got some little animals. They're super adorable. They got big noses. The mother becomes separated from the babies in a flood, and so she's trying to get back to them. And you have to go through these underground tunnels. I find it incredibly interesting that the whole premise is a flood separates them, but she drowns in like a drop of water. Like, how'd she survive the flood just to step in a puddle inside a tunnel underground and die? Well, that part's a little frustrating. He's having a party. Every time I start to talk, he does it again. I'm going to take his box away. But yeah, like I said, sometimes the puzzle, even with like elements you're supposed to be interacting with, can feel a little difficult to sleuth out. One of the earlier puzzles, to avoid giving away any spoilers, but one of the earlier puzzles is like, there's a log and it's tipped up on one end and then like goes down, and then you need to climb up a hill on the other side, right? Like a cliff. So if you try to jump and grab that ledge, she's gonna like jump off to the left side of the screen. She won't go over the lip, even though she's right there. You have a block, but you can't push it because the branch is at an angle so that there's, of course, like a quarter of an inch of water, and she'll die if you push her into the water. So your solution is that you have to actually jump on the block, go into the branch, go down the branch, jump back up on top of the branch, backtrack to the top of it, and chew a vine to make the branch fall down so you can push the block through and then jump on it and jump over the ledge. That's a whole lot of hullabaloo when she could have just grabbed the ledge.
Yeah.
She holds the ledge anyway, but she wouldn't just go over it. And it's kind of like the game does that a lot, where it kind of forces these puzzles in where a little bit of just normal platforming would have been sufficient. But besides that, it looks really nice. It was actually
it's a beautiful game.
It was really cool. I love when you have games that like have cutaways of the underground, and like you can see things that would naturally be underground, right? And so like it's not even creepy. You're just kind of like going through the tunnel, and like a little bit in the foreground you can see like, oh, there's a rib cage in the dirt, because that's what would be there, right? And just there's these unusual little elements in the dirt, and you're like, yeah, it looks like it would be, and it's super cool. I just wish that they would have let it suffice a little more as a platformer rather than ham-fisting in the puzzles.
That makes sense.
That's all I can really say to complain about it. Everything else is fine, and it's a fine game for what it is.
Well, then for $12, what do you say?
I think at $12, I think it's a buy it. It's just that you just have to know to expect that the puzzles are a little obtuse.
Works for me.
And it's not even, it's not even that you can't figure it out. It's just that you don't see, it's just not obvious that you're at a puzzle.
Yeah. It's still a good looking game.
Yeah, really is. Really is. I was impressed.
All right. Well, moving on, we're going to get Dark Mika in here. Aki, how are you doing?
I'm alive.
That's everyone's MO.
Yeah.
Well, that's always my MO. It's just part of my life.
Well, you got 2 games to talk about. The first one is called Raji, an ancient epic developed by Notting Head Games, published by Super.com, released October 15th on Xbox One, PS4, and PC for $24.99. Raji, an ancient epic, is an action-adventure game set in ancient India. A young girl named Raji has been chosen by the gods to stand against the demonic invasion of the human realm. Her destiny to rescue her younger brother and face the demon lord Fuck that. Aki, tell us about Raji. Mahabala Sura. God damn,
I can't remember how to pronounce it either.
Mahabala Sura.
He's just the asshole to me.
The demon
He's
lord.
the bad guy. He's the asshole. It's fun. I've actually been waiting for this game to come out for like 2 years or so, maybe longer than that. So,
damn.
Yeah, it was announced on Steam forever ago. And yeah, you play as Raji. Her brother and her were circus performers, basically, just out on the street. And one day, while they were doing their stuff, demons suddenly poofed into existence, and they took all the children, including her brother. So she's out to go get him back and fuck up everything in between her and him. You get the aid from a couple gods who give you special weapons that can kill the bad guys and stuff. The first one you get is a trident-like thing. I don't know what it's actually called anymore, but it's effectively a trident. So you get to stab the shit out of things. Then you get a bow, so you can shoot the shit out of things. Then you get a sword and shield, which is epic, because then you can finally block instead of have to dodge everything, which I'm bad at. But it's a action platformer for the most part. You can use special abilities occasionally that do area of effect attacks that don't particularly kill everything, but they tend to stun them for a little while and do a little bit of damage. But most of the time it's just dodging and just whacking things. Some enemies do require a little bit more strategy than that, because they have shields or things like that you have to get past. Usually I found just jumping and shooting them with the arrow worked. That was kind of my go-to thing. I was a cheap bitch.
Nice. Hey, whatever works.
Yeah. The game takes 10, 15 hours, I think. In it, you're just getting from point A to point B, just trying to catch up with your brother. Every time you get close to him, he gets taken away further. And, it's just have to keep going. But throughout it, you can also stop at these little murals, basically, and they tell you the story of the Indian gods, which is really cool. I really like that. There are cutscenes in it, and they're all done in old shadow puppet styles.
Nice.
Back where, not where you were doing the puppets with your, by making animals out of your hands and crap, but where they used to put a sheet of paper in between the audience and the people working behind the sheet, and they'd put up little actual puppets and just use light from behind them to create shadows on the paper so people could watch. Very, very unique. I really like the cutscenes. So yeah, it has a lot of cultural stuff, and that's one of the reasons why I love playing these kinds of games, is just because you get to see all this other stuff. Action was pretty tight. The voice acting was really good. Most of the voice acting is between the two main gods that help you. Ironically, I forgot one of the main one's name. I forgot. But the one she's always talking to is Vishnu. And most of the time they're talking. Raji can't hear them, but you can. The female god is narrating the entire thing throughout all the cutscenes and stuff. She's narrating everything. And during the actual gameplay, often she's talking with Vishnu about Raji. And it's really interesting. I really liked it.
So any negatives about the game, or is it all just really good?
The only negative I have is there are collectible achievements and there's no level select. So you have to there's one for getting all of them in all the collectibles in each level, which the collectibles you get in this add powers to your weapons. Each weapon, there's 3 different elemental abilities that you can equip to each weapon. They can all be the same one. They can all be different ones. It doesn't matter. Electric, ice, and fire. And the collectibles you get are favor orbs. There's a handful of them in every level. And you equip those to one of the elements. There's 3 different abilities that each one of them have, and there can be 3 favor orbs in each one of those 3. So there's 9 total that you can equip 3 orbs into each. And you don't have enough orbs to actually fill them all up. But each element that you fill up, you get stronger abilities if your weapon equips that elemental orb. So for like electricity, lightning bolts can be called down during combat at random and strike enemies. Sometimes they get stun locked. Sometimes electricity zaps between a couple of them. For fire, it's fireballs coming down from the sky, catching fire, and I don't remember the other one. It's probably like fireballs flittering between the enemies.
Arnie just saying that you better have a collectible guide for us.
I could not find them all.
Bullshit, you're going to get them all.
I missed one. I missed fucking one, and I could not find it, and it drove me nuts.
Well, you better go find it.
Yeah, I probably will eventually, or I'll wait for a guide myself because I am inherently lazy.
Nice.
Well, the thing is, you have to collect them all in each level for an achievement for each level, and then you have to collect all of them in total for the last one. And since there's no level select, you have to go all the way back to the very beginning and then collect them all. But the one that says collect all of them in the game, it doesn't have like any tracking to it. So it's like, oh, I don't know if I have them all in the first chapter anymore because I've already gotten that achievement.
Oh, man. Well,
that's the only negative I have.
Overall, $25. What do you think of it?
Yeah, I'm totally for it. I think it's a beautiful game, great voice acting, good action. I'm all for it.
Cool. I might pick this one up myself. It looked really cool.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
All right. One final game to talk about tonight is called Monster Prom XXL, developed by Beautiful Glitch, published by those awesome guys, released October 14th on Xbox One and PS4 for $15.99. There's only 3 weeks left until prom, and you haven't got a date yet. And you're a monster. But that's okay, because at your high school, everyone else is too. These are the stepping stones into the world of Monster Prom XXL, the bundled-up content-filled edition of Monster Prom, a 1 to 4 player competitive dating sim that will have you thinking, I never knew I was into that. Aki, what were you into?
Well, a lot of things. In this, you can choose one of 4 characters to play as. I only remember the 2 girl characters. I totally forgot what the guy characters were. But one of the girl characters is female Frankenstein's monster, basically. And the other one is, I guess, a fire avatar. She has flaming hair. That's all. I have no idea what she's actually supposed to be. But in it, you can play one of 2 modes, because this game is actually the same game that you find on Steam, which is Monster Prom, and all of its DLC combined, which is nice. And it has lots of seasonal stuff to it, and it also has a second term DLC, which adds a couple extra characters that you can go after. But in the main game, you have 6 characters that you can try and romance that are proper characters that you're supposed to go after. There's a nerdy vampire boy, a dumb jock werewolf, a very evil, jock demon guy. Then you got Medusa, who is the one I kept trying to go after, and I kept failing because I'm terrible at the game.
You're bad at a dating sim? What?
I know, right?
What the hell?
This game is a lot more complicated. There's also a ghost girl and a mermaid girl, I guess is what she's supposed to be. And in the DLC, the second term, you also have a guy who's actually a computer, and
I'm a computer.
Yeah, his name's Calculus or something like that. Even
stop all the downloading.
And then I think the other girl's like Nightmare Incarnate or something. I don't actually know what she is. She's adorable too. And basically, the whole game just comes down to you figuring out what you're doing during this part of the day, and then you do it, and it gives you a handful of lines of dialogue that you get to read, and then you get to make a choice on how you interact with the characters that are there, and then you move on to choosing where your character is going to go for the next period of time, and it just keeps doing that until you've gotten through the game. The game is actually pretty short. You can play 2 different modes. There's the short mode, which is anywhere from 10 to 30 minutes. And then you can play the full story mode, which is 40 minutes to about an hour and 10 minutes. So yeah, it's pretty quick. If you're an achievement hunter and you want all the achievements, don't get this game. I am one of those people that I'm obsessed with games like this. I keep track of everything. I don't know if I'll ever 100% this game.
Why?
Because there are achievements for getting every ending, getting every event, and there's over 400 events.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, in my first playthrough, I got 8.
Oh, jeez.
Uh-huh. And they all change based on answers you give and what your stats are and stuff like that. And I'm like, I need a guide for this because there's just so much. And then there's some other things that you also have to do a lot of. Like there's one that's over 500 large. There's one that's over 400 different things you have to do. It's like there's a lot to do here, and they're all different things.
Damn.
You have to play through this game so many times. And while, yes, it only takes anywhere between 10 minutes and a little over an hour per run, that's still a lot to get to like over 900 things that you have to do.
Well, you can't say that the game doesn't have content.
Oh yeah, it definitely does. And because of that, there is a ton of replay value. Also, as I said, there's the 6 main characters that you're supposed to go for in the main game. There's also a bunch of other characters that are special romances that you can go after, that you have to do special things in order to date them. I have yet to manage any of those yet. Again, I suck. So, yeah, there's achievements galore in this, and there's all sorts of special things in here. And you'd think that since the game's been on Steam for literally years at this point, that there'd be a good, solid guide to get everything done. No, there's not. There's lots
just
of
too much to do.
Exactly.
Nice.
I remember when the game was still being made and people were like, I can't figure this out. And I looked at some of the guys, it's like, here's all the events, here's the stats you need and all this other stuff. I looked at that and I'm like, I can't even figure out what I'm looking at in order to use it.
Jeez.
Yeah, this game, there's a lot in this game. And if you want the 100%, good fucking luck. You're better than me. Because there's no proper walkthroughs for this.
Well, I look forward to you being the first completion, but at $16, what do you think of this one?
Oh, hell yeah. Totally. Because, again, it's the entire main game. It's all the seasonal free updates, and it's the second term DLC all in one. All the characters are really, really cute. There is some voice acting, I do believe. I can't remember off the top of my head anymore, even though I just played this. And the characters are super cute looking.
Carnage says it's funny as fuck, too.
Yeah, there are some pretty comical parts to it. I was so focused on just trying to get in the Medusa girl's pants that I kind of bypassed. She's kind of a bitch.
Shocking that you're trying to get into her pants.
Yeah,
SML After Dark. Bow, chicka, bow.
Yeah, every character has their own personality, and Medusa is a money-grubbing mean bitch.
Nice.
The fish girl is super cute, but totally murder happy, and then the ghost girl is like sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Cool.
So her entire life. Yeah, the guys I didn't care about because guys.
All right. Well, that is it for this episode. We made it through a lot quicker than I thought I would, although we did chop off 2 reviews.
Yeah.
So, good stuff.
Professional.
I mean, if you want, we can still do my third one.
Scroll down. I don't even know if it's embargoed still or not. No,
Yeah,
fuck it. This show's long enough. Thanks, Jacob, for being here. Thanks, Aki, for being here. Thank you, Cole, for being here. Next week we'll have more reviews. I know Tuesday's going to be another big one with Pernell and Chris, so buckle up, buckaroo. We got plenty more reviews to go this month. Talktober is not ending. We might not have more interviews, but we got plenty of shit to talk about, right?
Oof.
I guess so.
Oof, indeed. Anyone have any final words to end the show?
Medusa's hot.